my friends, and welcome back to the Time to Level Up podcast. We are recording episode 162, I believe, somewhere around there. And I wanted to do this episode as a part of a continued series where I am actually interviewing my clients to kind of get their take on things, right? And I think, again, it's so important to listen to other people and see ourselves in others. I think we learn so much that way. Because when we're kind of on the hot seat, a lot of times it's harder to access what we're really thinking because there's a bit of stress involved. But when we're listening to others, there's no stress involved. And we can really see ourselves in them and then also borrow from them what their learning is or their thoughts or their actions. We can borrow and we can make some decisions about how we want to move forward. So in this episode, I spoke to 4 of my clients who started their businesses based off of their passion or interest in the service they provide. Now, I think we all start our business based off of our interest in the service we provide, but they're creatives, okay? So I have clients who are residential architects, landscape architects, interior designers, organizers. They are all schooled in their craft, okay? But what they are not schooled in, or no one had taught them, is to how to run a business. That topic was not covered, okay? Another topic that was not covered is how to run a life alongside your business, a life that works for you, how to parent and run a business, how to be a spouse and run a business, how to be an amazing friend or daughter and run a business, okay? How to take care of yourself and run a business. This is the kind of work we do in coaching. We work on the things that they don't necessarily teach you in school. And frankly, it is the stuff that keeps you up at night, okay? If you are a creative person, you may be staying up at night thinking about how you want to help your client design their space. But I bet more often you're staying up at night thinking about how you want to explain something to your client that your prices are increasing. Or you want to tell your kid you can't go on their field trip because you have an important meeting that day. So I wanted to share with you the thoughts of my 4 clients who all have successful, profitable businesses, what they think about, what we're working on together, how they do it, how do they turn a profit and turn a life, right? So we're going to dig in here. And I want, again, you to see if you can see yourself in any of them and how they're managing and how their thoughts have shifted over time. And if your thoughts shifted, or are you stuck in the same spot? So the first question I asked them was about meeting the needs of the client and meeting their own needs as a creative. Okay, now this is important to look at because one reason that these people got into what they're doing is to fulfill their own creative desire. So are they still fulfilling their own creative desire and meeting the needs of their clients? So let's listen in to my question and these clips.
I feel like in my experience so far, the clients that are hiring me really need a guide. They really need to be led in a direction. And so while I will listen to their styles and the color schemes that they want or don't want, and I'm taking in the rest of their home, I'm also trying to guide them in a direction. So that's where I feel like my skill set comes in, or my taste and the things that I feel like would look good in the space. I feel like they just don't know. And they need somebody from the outside world telling them, this is what you guys need. This is the color. Or if they're like, I don't want a lot of colors, which is great because I like a neutral palette. And then I like to add in color through a pillow or drapery or things like that. But I feel like it's more, they're wanting to be led. They're wanting someone to tell them this is what looks good.
So obviously, you want the customer to be super happy. And with staging, they're calling me and in their head, they might be thinking it might look one way. I always refer people to say, look at my website. This is, this is how it's going to look. At the end of the day, the most important thing is that they're really happy. Very happy. And matter of fact, I had someone from House Hunters call me last week to stage a home. And that was like really kind of exciting. But then they sent me a board of what they wanted it to look like. And it was like purple and yellow and like all these, like, it was very fun, like looked circusy. And I told them, I'm like, that's not my style. And I want you to be really happy with how it looks. And I referred them to someone different. So ultimately, you know, I really want the client to be very happy.
So I think not every design is going to look the same, just like every client has a different personality or certain aesthetic that they're drawn to. And so for me, it's listening to what they want. It's them showing me what they're interested in and what things they gravitate towards. And then I can help them, like in their current house, or if they're building a house, create a similar aesthetic to what they're drawn to. And that's not always going to be like what I am, not what I would do in my own home, or, you know, if we're given free reign in a home, but it's like a nice melting pot of what does the client want, what's going to give them an overall aesthetic that they're looking for, and then is it kind of on brand with what we're creating.
I mean, that has been something that's been a big deal for me over 20 years. The first part of like immediately coming out of school, it was much easier for me to maintain that creative flow with the client and kind of own that. And then as I got into it, it was surprising to me how easy it was for me to move away from that, in that it started to become more about the financial side of running the business and focusing on profits.
Yep.
And now that didn't serve me well. And so I have shifted back into the creative side. And so that for me has been more about my process. And I think a big balancing thing for me was I let go of the requirement to do drawings because of the financial obligation that caused the client.
Yep.
That I thought that I was doing them a favor by not doing the drawings and kind of adding that as an investment.
Okay.
And now I realized the drawings are non-negotiable. You don't get to work with me if there are no drawings. And if I don't have like a creative say in what's being done, I'm not just trying to meet the client's needs, but I am trying to express my creativity. And so I've had that ebb and flow over 20 years to where
I love that.
It kind of came back to the drawings for me.
Interesting.
Because I had this really beautiful collection of hand renderings that I would do for my clients. And then I moved away from it. And I was like, why am I so unhappy? And then I realized I have no drawings. Like, when's the last time I actually drew something? And now I've moved back into, you know, providing drawings.
And it also probably helps them with expectations too, right? Like this is the direction we're going in. So it's clearer for them.
And technology helped with that.
Yeah.
The cost of drawings or doing digital stuff got cheaper.
Yeah.
So it definitely became easier.
All right. So there's leading the client, leading yourself as the creative, or managing the client, managing yourself as the creative. And then there's leading and managing yourself as the business owner within your business. Okay. As the business, I'm going to say, actually, let's just start with the business leader within your business. Now, when you're a business leader, you are a CEO. Lots of creatives, and I think small business owners, don't think about themselves as business leaders or CEOs. They think that title is reserved for the CEO of Google and Anthem. Okay. But it's not. You are a CEO. And I actually went and looked up the definition of CEO. A chief executive officer, the highest ranking person in a company or other institution, ultimately responsible for making managerial decisions. I think if you're listening to this podcast, that's you, right? And that is them. Okay, that is these women that I had these conversations with. They're also not just CEO, they own the company, they own the business. And I went and looked up what's the definition of a business owner. Well, a business owner is one person who is in control of the operational and monetary aspects of a business, an entity that produces and sells goods and services for profit. So they gave an example, such as an e-commerce store or a freelance writer is considered a business. Businesses can be run alone or with a group of people. So not only are you the CEO, but you're the business owner. Okay. So what's hard about being CEO and business owner? And creative. Okay. I asked this question and I think the answers are pretty telling, okay, about what's hard, but also about what they're working on, what they've evolved, how they've been evolving, the journey they've been on. So are you evolving into that CEO and CEO type of thinking, or are you staying as an employee? Right? I have another episode that's scheduled for a few months out that I'm going to talk about what the difference is between an employee and a CEO, having a job and having a business. So sit down, buckle up, listen into these clips about being a CEO and being a business owner.
Yeah, some hard parts are I'm a visionary and, I love to, that's the wrong word, but what am I trying to say? Like I'm constantly dreaming and looking forward. And that is very hard for me to stop dreaming and looking forward because there's so much maintenance that needs to be done, management of like all the things that I have already put in place and learning to balance, future, like where I want to go with maintaining and managing where I am today. And you know this through our coaching, I'm constantly looking like, oh, I want to go here, I want to go there. But then I have to make sure I've put all the systems in place so that all of the, the current services that I'm offering are functioning and I'm building a solid foundation so that in a year, I don't look back and go, well, everything I built last year is now crumbling. So I think for me, it's just that balance of let's get it, what we're doing today, functioning and growing and stable, and then moving forward with the next new best thing.
Yeah. So it's managing, it's like almost like controlling your, it's a balance. We talk about balance, right? It's balancing what's happening right now with where you want to go and not putting too many eggs in one basket, either or, right? Because you don't want to say stagnant, but yet you don't want to go super far ahead of yourself when you're still maybe don't have a solid foundation with what's existing.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think there's always a push and pull when you own a business and when you're managing clients and their schedules and their needs and your team's needs and their schedules. And I haven't found the perfect balance, but I've been doing this for 8+ years. And I feel like I found more financial stability in the business. Like I kind of know what direction it's going and it doesn't feel as much of a roller coaster as it did, even 2 years ago.
Oh man. I think the thing that's taken me the longest is the marketing.
Okay.
For me as a designer, I think the biggest challenge I faced is really figuring out who I am, what I do, and who I do it for. Like, I can't tell you, I've spent years listening to, consuming podcasts, listening to these experts, but no matter how many packets I filled out or free downloads I did from whoever was offering how to market your interior design business, it's been an evolving process, but mainly over the last 5 years is when it's really come together for me, even up until like last week.
Okay.
As I've rebuilding a website and things.
Okay. So these women have learned that if they are owner or CEO, they are not always the doer or the implementer. anymore, even though they started out doing and implementing everything. This is something that we work on in coaching a lot, this kind of thinking. All right. Now, remember, there are 2 of the 5 keys of becoming a big thinker are having thought options and taking action. So balancing the having the thought options and the taking action is hard sometimes. What thoughts do they have? Okay. They need to shift their thought to, I am CEO and business owner. I am not employee and doer. And with that thought, then what actions are they going to take? What are they themselves, and what are they going to delegate? And how do you do that? How do you make that decision? How do you be an effective delegator? Is it worth it? This is where coaching comes into play big time, because you don't have a board of directors to run this kind of thing by, but your mastermind group or your coaching group, plus me as your coach, we can come your board of directors. We become your board of directors, and we help you make decisions to move the business forward and to move you forward as CEO, to create that freedom you're desiring. It's really hard to make these decisions and be a CEO if you're in your own peanut butter jar. Okay. So what would it be like if you had a coach to help you read the label? So listen to these clips about delegating, about handing things off, about what it does for you.
It has been a change. And I would say initially when I hired the lead stager, I was training her and I was like, oh my gosh, this is just added work. This has not made things easier. But now we're 2 months in and she's running with it. I'm just like saying, this is what I need you to do. And delegating completes, an entire staging job to her and starting to give her more admin around that. Just last week, I was like, I feel like a different person because I'm able to focus on this part of my business and this part of my business. And I'm not even thinking about that part. Someone else is. So that has been very rewarding and freeing. I've found a lot of freedom in like just taking that step to hire, even though it took time to get her in place and train her. Now I am in a different place and my business is in a different place. So
I love that for you. I love that that's coming together.
I know. Yes, me too. And I feel like next year will be even better. My goal with her was January. I feel like I can let her go completely in January. And she's already proven, to be trustworthy and capable even sooner than I thought. So that's amazing. That just means I got the right person.
Yeah, it does. Well, and that you did a good job training her. Right? Like, and you did you give yourself some credit. Because that's to get the right person, that took you, right? And then getting her up and running to a place where you already feel comfortable, even only 2 months in, not 4 months in. You need to give yourself a little credit on that.
Yeah, that's true. Yes.
I'm giving you credit.
True.
I'm giving you credit.
Good. It feels a little like, and I don't know if you said it or someone else said it. I have someone that helps me do things, and it might not be exactly the way I would do it, but they do it great and it's beautiful. And I'm just have to be like, oh my gosh, that's so amazing. And that it's not just me doing everything anymore. And I've gotten a bookkeeper. So that's been like super helpful. And someone that does the accounting at the end of the year. So that's really helpful. And then I just interviewed someone for like a virtual assistant job.
All right.
To write a newsletter.
Okay.
Writing's not my thing. I think it's amazing you wrote this book. I like, so anyway, so you've really helped me know that that's really important, and to let go and to trust other people that they're going to be really good at what they do too.
They are going to be. Is Kate going to help you with the newsletter? Or is she going to, is that something?
No.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
But it's really important too. I think another piece of this is 80%, if it's 80%, if they got an 80% and it was done by someone else, it's like 100% for you.
Yeah.
Right. Like I had to kind of learn that too, because no one's going to do it exactly the way you do it. No one, no matter what, even if you taught them exactly your way, right, they're just not going to do it. So I think accepting 80% done by someone else is really 100% in your book.
Right. And
it's fun.
It makes it just more efficient and it's fun to work with people. In the beginning, I just kind of did everything myself. And It's
What do you
grown.
think? Okay, by delegating, what's it going to allow you to do? What other things is it going to allow you to do, or what's it going to create for you?
Well, it's created more staging jobs. I can do them more efficiently, you
Okay.
know, and it looks, I mean, you know, at the beginning, it looks one way. I've really progressed, I guess, like
Yeah.
anyone who's in their business, but it's freed up a lot more time for just doing that. Like I was able to look into getting an accountant, and I was able to look into getting a virtual assistant, like where before I would just come home at the end of the day and like have to make dinner and then like
Yes.
sit down at 8 o'clock at night and start thinking about this stuff, and it would overwhelm me.
Okay.
So it's given me more time to get to when I started with you, I said, I felt like the staging business was great. It was like the underneath part. Like I
Yes.
didn't have the foundation.
Yes.
So, I mean, I obviously had some foundation, but I really feel like I've been able to take time and build that, having these assistants help me.
I love it. Look at you. So and it's scary too, to like, to give responsibility to other people too.
Yeah.
There's a fear factor in there too.
I think for me, I'm getting better about this, but one is hiring someone before you think you need to hire them, like on the business side. Another is having help at home, even if you don't know exactly what this person needs to do, but you know
Yeah.
you need another hand. So for example, in my home situation, I hired someone just to help with the kids after school. But now she's like grabbing groceries for me. She's doing laundry. She's taking the dog out. Like if the kids have a project, she's reminding me of that. She reviews like the weekly schedule of what the kids are doing now every week. And she's like, you know, she is helping me. So like if somebody has a practice, she will help like fix them dinner or get them a snack or make sure their clothes are clean. And I didn't know I needed all that, but I do because it's made things a lot easier, especially when, you know, my partner is traveling.
Hmm.
And then I think the whole hire before you're ready thing, or before you think you need someone, we have someone on the team and we hired her, and I thought she was going to do one thing, but she's actually really good at a lot of things, and she's kind of our utility player is what someone calls her, and she has an
Okay.
official title, but she's able to assist with a lot of our like installations. She's also able to help at the warehouse if something needs to be done that the designers don't have time for, and that's kind of an invaluable part of the business, and that's mostly behind the scenes, but it makes everything on the front end run smoothly.
So what changed for you? Because I know, like when I talk to clients, a lot of them are waiting. I don't know if what I do with this person if I hire them, or I don't know if I need them yet. Or so what changed for you in that sort of thinking?
I saw that we were getting busy
Okay.
and that we were having more projects coming in. And at that point, you know, I didn't think it was going to slow down. And so there was someone that was very capable to do some sort of job. And I just decided to hire for a role that I thought the person would be good at,
Okay.
and valuable. And I think when you have the right person for your company, like I'm a small firm, you will know because the hiring feels, I think, good and feels like a right fit. It doesn't feel uncertain, I guess.
Forced.
And
Yeah.
of course, and I think like hiring more people can be scary in a way, but when you hire the right people, it should feel good because they are taking extra work and details off of your plate.
Yes. And I think so many people stress about, yeah, but then I'm going to have to train them and it's only going to add more work to me. And it's going to make things more complicated and add more people to the mix. But you figured out that that's not necessarily the case in the long run.
And if you have a team of people, the team of people can help train the new person. It does not have to be all up to you. I think I get in this mindset a lot, and I think a lot of women do. Like, it's all up to me. I have to figure this out. I have to figure that out. And really, you have a team of people that can help you move the needle forward without you actually having to do all of the work. You take the action. You let your team, help train the new person or take on that new project.
Look at you. Who are you? Have I met you before?
I'm your protege, and you have been helping me remember all these things.
All right. So now let's see what the results are of being more of the visionary. What are the results of having that board of directors? This is what gets me excited, seeing these results. And I think you can feel the excitement in their answers when I ask them what it's like having more people in place and being more of the visionary.
Things have run more smoothly, and I don't feel as chaotic and anxious as I would. Yeah.
Okay.
In my head, I was like, oh my gosh, I have to do this and this and this. And so now I know that this person's helping me do that, and this person's helping me do this. And so I personally feel more like at peace,
Okay. Okay. I love that. That's exactly how I want you to feel, way more at peace. And I can't wait till you're going to be able to get on all these calls easily.
All right. So another facet of being a big thinker is embracing the unknown, right? That's one of the other of the 5 things of big thinkers, embracing the unknown, which probably is the scariest part. Okay. And then that brings you to another part of being a big thinker is identifying the real problem. And your ability to identify the real problem is something that you need to work on. It's a skill, but remember, identifying the real problem, 99% of the time, the real problem is really just a negative feeling. It might be fear, right? So these women, though, in their answers, notice that they've gotten good at identifying the real problem. They've gotten good at embracing the unknown. And even though they still have fear because they're human, look at how they have learned to manage that.
You know this answer from me, finances. It's the money. It's like, where's it coming from? And will it continue to come in? And when it comes in, can I control myself and not spend it all? So it really, for me, the greatest fear it revolves around finances. I have taken lots of action steps towards helping myself understand my numbers, hiring a CPA, starting, you need a budget, trying to understand and kind of be in a communication or a relationship with my numbers so that I'm not scared of them. But it still is, it's still scary to think about where's the next dollar going to come from.
Yeah. That's work in progress, right? You put a lot of systems in place and become more familiar with the systems over the last 10 months, 12 months, right? And it's just the mindset piece that's like we need to keep refining. But
absolutely.
I mean, goal setting, right? I was just going to say.
Huge. I mean, I set a goal to, double my income by the end of the year, and I've already surpassed that. Sometime in October, I hit those numbers and beyond those numbers. And that feels really good. It's like, oh, this is great. And so then I'm like, okay, and it's motivating, when you see your numbers growing, and then you have a place to put that money and not just like I'm trying to put it into the reserve, into profit, so that I start next year with different financial goals in mind, because I'm seeing how it works. And so I'm a believer in goal setting. Smart goal setting.
Smart goal setting. I think a year ago, you would have told me, this is too scary. I don't know if I want to do this. Right?
I really do wish that I had a microphone on myself a year ago, because I feel like I have grown so incredibly much this year in so many ways, not just one way, but like this way. You name it, everything. I feel like I am where I am today through coaching and through all of my systems and the push and the vision. I mean, there's just, it's a different business today than it was a year ago. I mean, I remember when we were doing go ahead.
No, I remember when you were doing your plan.
Yes.
And I have that on recording. We should pull that out.
We should pull that out. Yeah. Because I remember you were like, how much money do you want to make in 3 years? And I told you the number, and I hit that this year. So I'm like, oh, wow. So what do I want to do next year? And I know you can't probably double your income every year. But I do feel like it has been a very encouraging year of what is possible when you think big.
Why can't you double your income next year? I mean, why not?
I mean, that would be amazing. That would be
Why
amazing.
not? I mean, we might as well put it out there. Like, if you don't, you
Right.
don't, but we might as well put it out there, right? Better to get
True.
closer than not close.
That's a good question too. The hardest part is managing your, like, well, I think the bookkeeping is really hard. Okay. But also, organizing your warehouse, that can be tricky. Like if you get a whole bunch of stuff back and then you've got to have a quick turnaround and get it out. So it's a lot of like logistical things, like that can be a little tricky.
Okay. What have you learned about your books though, now that you've gotten a little bit of a handle on them? How do you feel about it?
My accounting?
Yeah.
Those kind of books. Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's really good to see it on paper, because before it was just kind of like out there, or it was just me looking at it, not efficiently. And this person is helping me categorize things better and like think, well, do you want to spend this much money on your inventory, or let's allocate this much money, for this. And so it's been helpful to see like in a total job where the money goes.
Mm-hmm.
Before I wasn't doing that so great.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it as bad as you thought it was?
No,
I didn't think so.
Yeah, no,
right? It's kind of fun actually to be like, I know where every dollar is going, right? Every dollar's got a job.
Yeah, I loved meeting with Nicole on You Need a Budget. That was super helpful. And because that's not my thing. So It's been really very helpful. And it's always an area of improvement for me.
Okay, so last piece here. To address all of these money fears, I have built into my coaching program one-on-one sessions with a money confidence or budgeting coach so that you can learn to become friends with your numbers. I have listened to this fear around money too many times to not have this element as built into my coaching program. All right. So I put measures in place. I listen and I put measures in place to help my clients manage this. Again, if you're creative, if you're an interior designer, no one's teaching you how to build a budget in school, right? They're not teaching you that. A business budget. They might tell you how to budget and price out a room, but they're not telling you how to price out your business. All right. So let's finish up today's discussion with advice. Okay. So regardless of whether or not you're at the beginning of your business or a few years in, listen into this advice that Whitney is about to give you.
That you're just at the very beginning. Like you are at the precipice of, building your business and building your brand and figuring out what that's going to look like. And there are going to be good days and hard days and uncertain days, but I would encourage anyone starting something new is to keep going and keep going. Don't give up. Even if the first 2 years are hard, I would encourage you to keep going.
I like that piece of advice. What do you think? If there one thing that they should definitely do? Is there any like, you must do this or you must? What's a must?
Well, 2 years into my business, I was pregnant with the twins.
Huh.
And I would work in the morning and take a nap.
Yeah.
Every day. And then I would work in the afternoon, and then I would have to lay down again by 6:30 or 7 every day.
Yeah.
For 9 months. And And that, and so the season for me was keep going, but at a slower pace.
Okay, that's fair. That's like great advice. I love that.
I think it depends what season you're in. Like, what are your kids' ages? What other stuff do you have going on in your life? But for me, at the very beginning, what I knew I needed was to keep pouring into myself, like learning something new. I needed to like be involved in some sort of local networking chapter. Like, I don't know, what is that called? You know what I mean?
You needed to connect with others to, figure out what else is out there, but tap into other business owners, really.
Yeah, so that would be key, like tapping into other business owners and having kind of a community of other women business owners, and then like constantly learning from other people that are experts in the field, because not only are you like learning tangible things, but you're also watching somebody else who is already successful and had the success, and how they interact with clients, with projects. And I think all of that is invaluable too. The other piece of advice, and I didn't have this until I started working with you, Andrea, is having a really good CPA and having them help you reconcile every month and showing you the reports and explaining them to you in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you only see a snapshot of what you're doing from like a sales perspective, every quarter or once a year, you're not seeing the whole picture. You need someone to sit down with you monthly to review that. And then the final thing is having a business coach. I think that has been key for me, is having somebody to remind me like of how far I've come, and also that these goals that I have can be exciting.
They are exciting.
Yeah.
Yes. I remember actually when we first started working together, you were so like not scared in a negative way, but just like numbers to you made you cringe.
Yeah.
And that's been a huge difference.
Yes.
That's been a huge difference.
It's been great to have, I had to have Maggie help me, walk me through where we're at and things that we could do. Yeah.
And I do think having that other, like as a coach or whoever, to help you see what's out there, like possibilities, and to remind you that what you've made actually happen, because we forget what we've made happen.
And that it doesn't have to be your big goals. Yes, they can feel scary, but like, what if all of that, what if you could just like soften that a little bit and think about, what if this does happen, and what if I am successful, and what does that look like?
Yep. 100%.
Like, what impact would I have? And then that, for me, that takes me from like, this feels like a lot, to the what ifs, and this could all happen.
And it's happening. So what is happening for you? What is not happening? What do you want to happen? And what's getting in your way of making it happen? Part of what Whitney and all the women on this call have worked on, and I am so proud of them, is that they've all gotten really good at answering those questions and seeking help and guidance and input when they're stuck. And they're just willing to explore the possibilities. Like, maybe that could happen. And then make some decisions about which possibilities they want to become a reality, and see it through to the reality. To see it through, seeing it through that journey is what I call, this is happening. And this is happening for them. They also have experienced what it's like to be in a community. Whitney mentioned a community. So who is your community of women that's supporting you in making things happen? Well, I have one for you. I have a community for you, and they're in it, and they would welcome you with open arms. So why not be part of a community? Why not be part of coaching? Who is your coach? I would be honored to work with you and to help you get a clear picture of what is happening in your business. That would be step one. And then to identify what you want to happen. That's step two. And then to create the plan to get there. Step three. Okay. And we can do that in a vision to action intensive. And then to give you the ongoing support you need to make it happen. And that could happen through one of my coaching options. But which one's right for you? I don't know. Let's hop on a call, a complimentary call, and we'll figure out where you're at in that call, which is kind of worth $1,000 million in and of itself. Just that call, figuring out where you're at and where you want to go. And we'll figure that out too. And then we can figure out how you're going to get there and what you need along the way if you decide to engage in some coaching, and we'll figure out what the best kind of coaching is for you. So I encourage you to head over to Andrea's links with an S, get yourself scheduled for a complimentary coaching call. Okay. And we're going to figure out what is going to work best for you. And we're going to get you going in 2024. Right. So you might be listening to this and it's the end of January and you're really just kind of like, okay, I got to get my act together. Well, let's get it together. It's not too late. It's only the end of January. Let's get your act together. Head over to Andrea's links, schedule a complimentary call. Again, it's complimentary, but it's worth millions of dollars because you're going to figure out where you are, what is happening, what you want to happen. And then we'll figure out how to create a plan to make it happen. All right, my friends, remember, now is the time to level up. Right now, always the time. Never a bad time. We don't have to wait for a time. It's right now. Have a great day. See you next week.